かないと怖いから。これでいいのか。
はい。
でいいので、
これで
ライブ配信
停止すると再開できなくなっちゃうので、配信の裏で配信してるやつを止めてください。
こっちを止めればいいか。
こっちを止めると。これが今上がってきてるかな。これくらいで大丈夫ですか。今から各ファイルのチェックを行います。配信状況の確認も含めています。はい、各プレゼンテーションの、チェック。ファイルが違うのなんだろう。あ、OK。画像の見え方の確認もします。逆だね、これ。違うか。違う、さっきと違うな。スワイプディスプレイはどこだ。やり方がわからん。
上のやつじゃない。あれ、
こっちの方に行かないと。こ
こ
っちに行かないといけないのか。これでマウスカーソルがちょっとマウスカーソルがどこら辺にあるか教えてくれる。あ、今あった見た。これのスワイプどこ。これ。あ、出た、オッケー。うん。よいしょっと。じゃあ午前中のものに関しては一件除いて大丈夫という感じですね。
今次タロさんの次の人は。
そうエイトさんのがないんです。ファイルがないんで、多分後でファイルを届けてくれると思います。
シンプルミラーリングは
シンプルミラーリングなんだけど、こ
れはスピーカーの音が入ってる。スピーカースクリーンとスピーカー、
両方両方入ってる状態です。
PDF だけ使ってる人は多分ミラーリングの方が。
で、ちょっと設定をしてなかったのが レゼンターモニターとかこれがうまく動かないんだよな。両方同じになっちゃうな。まあいいや。とりあえずこれでできるから確認で。ちゃんと音も入ってます。はい。じゃあこのまま。よし。
結構時間かかる。
ちょっと遅れてるみたいかな。こっちで話した方が簡単かな。でもノイズが入る。一応これ置いてきます。まあこれぐらい入れば大丈夫かな。持ったまま話さないと大変ですね。
じゃあ見てみる。ここでこうなる。
すげえ緊張する。あと動きだけ確認。30分を過ぎてる。スタートが少し遅れた。で代わりに三浦さんが踊ってた。少し遅れてる。
今終わった。
終わったところ？
質問だし。だから多分。さっきね。 ここに座って思ったけど、多分ここが一番わかりやすい。ここ座ると多分見えない。
見えない。あ、ちょっと待って、ダニエル、カバンがちょっと突っ込んでる。
どこのカバン？
そのカバン。一応今の位置で見えなくなった。
想像しただけです。
Just one question. The next speaker, the speaker after the next speaker, is already here. Talking with the map. So in room one will be 2 talks now, and I'm just curious. I just want to know if the second speaker is already here. No.
Yes, so I wait, sit. Well, thanks.
So welcome to room 1, and we have 2 presentations until the coffee and tea break, and we are starting with my colleague, Taro-san, who will introduce you an application we did recently on mobile app development with routing and voice navigation, and of course it's using OpenStreetMap data.
So I start my presentation. So I'm not native English speaker, so my English is very bad. So I'm sorry. So I can't make scripts. So I start my presentation. I'm a Georepublic senior engineer. So I am programmer and some system network design, and anytime I make tiles. So and as a local team, I make this regret. So it's my first impression in design. So my history is I started programming in high school student and start learning Linux. And part-time half of year, as a half year ago, I start JS programming, but too many years I didn't any JS programming. But now I joined Georepublic, so I become JS programmer again. So and 7 years, over 7 years, I joined in OSS communities. So I write 2 books, but it's the old book in Japan. So today's topic is overview of the Navi and detail routing function, voice navigation, and custom tiles, and issue. Sorry, this is camera. So Daredem Navi is a smartphone application dedicated in order Shiasenomura in Kobe City. Daredemo means everyone, so the application in English is UD Navi. UD is universal design. Shiasenomura is in English is a village of happiness. So we are located in Kobe City in here. It's the map. So function, this application's function is navigation, supports both wheelchair user and blind people, and support both outdoor and indoor map. And voice navigation available for blind users. And the map design is designed by Kobe City's Universal Design Guideline. So technology overview and tile server using Docker and Bunny Cache and tile server GL, and deploy with Ansible. API server and map view is made in Rails, Ruby on Rails, and backend database is using PostGIS and PG routing. And each tile server and API server with front end is use Nginx, and map view use Leaflet and Mapbox GLJS. And application smart application is make written in React Native and support both Android and iOS. So let's make demo. I did this demo in this morning, so I forget completely the English name of location. So I chose main buildings, information. So set departure here, and available maybe どこだっけなタンポポの家つ、チェックイン and search map, and in now I have trouble can't load so I turn off Wi-Fi and not working, and back and search again. Yeah, it shows indoor map, and auto dump using Mapillary.js. So here is a custom view with a default OpenStreetMap design. And I set user use as a blind user. So and such as I set departure and arrival again. And search by text. So in the so navigation text in English. This application supports English and Japanese and Japanese, English, Korean, and two Chinese languages. Okay, so let's talk about routing function. We use PG routing. So and we use OpenStreetMap data to support outdoor routing. Indoor use game map. So we didn't use indoor map in the routing for OpenStreetMap data. So and OSM2 PG routings, we use this develop branch. The branch support HStore is the mean we can write query with OpenStreetMap tags. So prepare database. We support run create extension PG routing and HStore. But our application use this task using Rails DB migrate task. And building OSM2 PG routing is in Ubuntu. So install dependency package and git clone and build and test. And import task is only to get OSM data with bounding box, and import is using additional options as HStore and attributes and tags. That's new option in OSM2 routing develop branch. So how to make API? So API gets start and end position and set a query type. And in Ruby on Rails, I make a virtual model with position information and query type. And the model calculate routing. For this string and for each return when no text only. When no text and type blind row vision type returns return array of building text in the show in demo. So API client send request to API, and API makes instance of model, and the API call function and the PG routing return such result. Oh, sorry. And API return to return JSON to client. The function detail is that's all. So PG routing query result is blind or blind low vision returns too many ways, but others only one way. And model is initializer is the include active model model is virtual model in Ruby on Rails, and get routing function is simple, only text or format. And routing function, routing function is same structure, but different is get routing as a well-known text or text, and calculate function is it's return calculate function makes result result value, and the result value is Postgres result. It's a array of in Ruby. So and and routing for functions is it's three function query builder. So query for participant is too simple. So query for pointer is defined. Applies define the cost per ways. So if the tag include incline, the cost will be double. And under join parts is defined in another way. So pointer can't use how we call steps way. So we define this area to where can't use, and the query for blind user, we define highway steps is of course will be 40 times, but other having tactile paving is the cost will be half. And under so the Shiaselmura area covers too many way have a tactile having. So and we make this query. So this query for enable to work for blind user. And the routing scale is sorry, too small font. So it's part of 3 parts. Additional query so for text builder and visual extra query and making result. So flow code I upload to my guest. So please access my account is. So how text builder works, and so which user can look a map in smartphone. So the result will be one line. But blindness user needs each line because they need to turn. So the result is 4 lines. So blindness users need to turn along the way. So the So we make, I make a builder function to put heading and length, way length. So checking way, so that's sorry. Is in 315 degrees, between 315 degrees and 45 degrees is go ahead. So we at length and so to result, but between 45 degrees to 135 degrees to turn right. So we cut we cross the current way and check new way. The result is the small text as sorry. Text array. So go forward and turn left and turn right and turn left and turn right and turn right. Yes, so that's all our routing functions. The type is so we make custom types because customer want to create follows Corpicity's guideline map. So at just right time on the type is map types was released. So and I try open map tiles as a hobby. So before when it was named OSM2 vector tile, so and I know about Mapillary. So it's an alternative of Mapbox Studio. So we use we chose open map tiles. So how to host Mapbox tile? So it's in 5 steps we need. So the first is how to make Mapbox vector tile. It's 6 steps, and get the machine I put junk PC and the memory and storage. Yes, and the setup is install Docker and next is the clone is sorry, it's cover maybe four all task. It's I said 6 steps. Git clone and Docker Compose Pull and quick start. SH is front end of open map. Open map tiles many tasks. So I just run this and make start to tile server launch tile server GL in local. So open local host in your browser, so you can check you make tiles or you make. So and in order to level we so after generation so sorry the open map tiles by support make Mapbox tile between level 0 to 7 by default. So to enable upper level, so 3 steps you need. And upload type to server is only SAP. And the setup and tile server GL is these steps. But in this case, I make font repository and sprites. Sprites repositories. So I talk. I can talk. So in this presentation in detail. So if you want to detail, please ask me. So the system layout is follows. These pictures. So 4 Docker instance runs tile server GL and 1 Docker runs vanish cache. It's caching. And the Docker compose. The vanish backend is a Rasa tile server instance, and Nginx setting is so PNG access for PNG file for to vanish cache. So and start Docker and scales Rasa tile server 3 instance. Okay, and next is making Batbox JSON file. So it's go to editor openmaptiles.org. It's a mapping utonic editor. So it chose base select style and select source and change your URL to tiles JSON URL. Sorry, and this URL. So and next is settings, size settings, change to value changes, and edit style, and export it, and the and text editor, sorry, you may open the JSON file to in your text editor and edit and change source as a source is URL and sprite and clip values, and you upload to JSON file and create config JSON file. Config JSON file covers tile server GL.js, tile server GL, facts data, which is all. so that is all of the hosting issue. So last is how to cover iOS and Android in WebView. React Native support the native WebView, but Android WebView is bad. So use Reflect.js instead of Mapillary.js. So my way is switch URL for Android, and the client code is same code in Android and iOS, and server side is iOS and Android is same same listener. So and I make 2 class. It's a same it have the same name functions. So show data. So the summary is sorry. I can write the sorry, it's a time over. So I can make a summary. Sorry. that's all my presentation. Okay, so the time is over.
Thank you very much. I must say, when I give my presentation in Japanese here, that's really hard. So it's really tough for any Japanese here speaking in English. That's really, yeah, just imagine you have to speak in Japanese. Yeah, I think for questions we don't have any time anymore, but just look out for the red T-shirt. And yeah, I'm looking for the next speaker. I think in this book. It's wrong. The change in the program. So yeah, on the website it's written photo walk in Aizuwakamatsu. From Mapillary. Okay. Want to sit up or?
Yeah, well this is...
Use.
Or do you need a USB key, or what do you use?
No, I don't need any.
Okay.
Okay, so the next scheduled session is actually a photo walk. So my name's Eduardo and I'm from Mapillary. And so the plan was to actually go out and take street level imagery around Aizuwakamatsu, take a walk around the castle, have some pre-planned routes as well. So the idea is to break up into groups and we'll go and test the app. But I think the latest weather check, it's pretty rainy, so it's not very good for photo mapping. So I thought what we could do, for anyone who's still interested in photo mapping, we can meet back here at 1 o'clock, which is lunchtime. Hopefully the weather will be a bit better, and then we'll go out and photo map them. But if you haven't already, it's a good idea to download the app. So it's Mapillary. You can find it on the Play Store and the iOS app. And we'll meet back here at 1 o'clock. You'll have the app installed and we can try our luck again. But yeah, sorry about that. The weather is looking pretty rainy. So the photos aren't going to turn out too well anyway. Thank you.
Do you want to do any of the talk now, or should we open this up as a free session?
I think it's best to open it up as a free session because I've got another talk on Sunday, so I'm going to go through Mapillary in more detail. So I think, yeah, it's best to say this.
If anybody wants to present something, this is now a free session.
Yeah.
Or we can do if you like.
Okay, so you mean you have, I would have asked you to just explain something about the technology stuff or something about the app itself, but you are going to do this anyway.
Well, I can quickly show people how to get the app. That might be a good way to use 5 minutes.
So feel free to use that computer if you want.
To this video recording. So if you have a presentation file, open in this machine with the data, but you can try this.
You guys can see that all right?
It's maybe not good.
Not working?
It can just. Do you have a?
Can I just show a quick video here and then...
Someone have a USB memory? I want to copy this machine to this because streaming is bad.
So what else do you need for this walk? An umbrella maybe?
Well, hopefully not. I think if it's raining, we won't do it. But yeah, so you just need to download the app, create an account, and then it's really simple as that. We've got a 360 cam, so one of you guys can connect to that. We also We also have an action camera, and then the rest will be using phones. So as I said, I've got a bunch of different routes. They take about 20 minutes each. So I think after you've had your lunch, just come back here and then we can try, I think it'll be groups of 2 or 3. We'll go out, and I'll show you in a second like what exactly we'll be doing with the apps.
Okay, so 1 o'clock this room.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Actually, let's make it, say, 1:10, 1:15. That way you can get your lunch and leave the previous sessions as well. I think it's already there.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is a demo of the iOS app. So once you've installed it, it's really easy. You open up the app and you go to the capture screen. So you see once you've opened the app, the capture screen is that, that camera icon there. This one's actually in Spanish, but you want to go to automatic mode. And so it should be Japanese, English, cover most of the languages I think we'll have present. And then you just walk holding the camera level. So you want to hold the camera level with the horizon and make sure that your GPS signal is green like this. And so given that we're going to be breaking up into groups of say 2 or 3, it might be best for one person to be looking kind of 45 degrees to the right, one person looking 45 degrees to the left. And if you have a third person, one person facing straight ahead. So kind of walking together, covering every angle. And then I can show you what exactly the output will be. But once you've come back, if the internet's all right, we can upload the images. And then they'll appear on mapillary.com. So for those that don't know, what Mapillary is, it's basically a platform for people to upload street level imagery. And then that street level imagery is merged together so people can contribute imagery from around the world. And then we try and identify objects within them. So we identify traffic signs and crosswalks and things like that. And then we make that data available to OpenStreetMap. So if you go into OpenStreetMap tools like ID Editor or JOSM, you can view Mapillary imagery and then make edits from that imagery. So it's just a much easier data source when satellite imagery won't do the job. So you can imagine a lot of situations like when you're trying to work out how many stories the building is, what the purpose of that building is, street level imagery is a much better tool. And the Fukushima community has been very active. If we zoom in to Aizuwakamatsu and where we are today. If the internet behaves itself. It's coming. I promise there's stuff here. But yeah, most of the routes that we're doing today, so we start here and then we'll walk, like, so some of the groups are going to go up here, some of the groups will go towards the castle, others will go back around here, but we should cover most of the roads around. Okay, here you go. Now you can see the imagery. So the great thing is there's people who've contributed by car, like you can see here. This looks like a dash cam that someone has used. There's people who've contributed with 360 imagery, so that's what you see here. This is actually at night, which is not the best, but you can see this is in the winter, heaps of snow. And the great thing about this is you can actually see how an area changes over time. So people can upload imagery in winter, in summer, and then what we do is we use what's called structure from motion. So we look at like buildings, and if it's the same building in each photo, we can reconstruct that area in 3D and know it's the same place, so that you can then compare that area over time, like I'll demonstrate here. So this is a building under construction in Malmö in southern Sweden, which is where Mapillary is from. This is in Brazil, so you can see it's the same location over different points in time. And so you can see what's changed. So the plan at probably 1:15 today, we'll come back and just go to the Play Store if you're on Android, or the App Store, or if you're on Apple, and you can find the Mapillary app and download it, and then we'll meet back here at 1:15. Does anyone have any questions?
I would ask you, you showed the time machine of the photo.
Yep.
And the time machine photo supports 360 photo?
Yeah, so the time machine itself, I don't think it's been tried with 360 imagery, no. Actually, that's a good question. I haven't tried it with 360 imagery. But yeah, let's try that between now and 1:15, and I'll give you an answer on that one. But you can try it with 2D imagery, definitely. And then on Sunday, I'm going to be going through all this in much more detail, the computer vision that we have underlying it, so what kind of objects we can detect, how you can use those objects in different applications, and some of the community stories that Mapillary has around the world.
Okay, then early coffee break, or you can just look in the other room and see the last 15 minutes of the other talk. Or you stay here and work a bit.
Device.
Yeah, I should have checked this one here, but then I said, oh, that's convenient.
We had a wet weather plan, but I think I was saying during my presentation at Sunday, I didn't want to.
The weather is tough in Japan these days. I didn't even know. It's only Japan.
Just an information. Yesterday, I took a 360 photo in around Japan. Yeah.
I know very well from before. Nice presentation.
Let's try it.
I'm the advisor of Open Map Times.
Open map times.
Okay, so it says super heavy rain.
You mentioned Open Map
But
Times.
actually it says, no, then it won't be okay.
Yes, yes.
But
I'm
actually
the
said this
project
already.
advisor of
There's no
Open
rain.
Map Times.
I bought it on
Okay.
I need it.
So my
But it seems to be very-
GTAB name is Smellman.
Because of the
So
heat,
Ah.
you have like
I
Yes.
some
I
strong rain.
I make one project about
Yeah, but that's
shell screen.
Oh, nice.
So
I'll try 1:15, hopefully.
I've seen you uploaded things to your gist. Gist.
GitHub
Yeah, it's very hard to predict.
Oh.
We can try time travel if you want.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Ah, Taro.
Yeah.
Taro.
Like in theory, you could do it because if there's a reconstruction of that same area, so if we've identified the same
now
points,
I,
then we could do it. It's just a
I
matter of whether
consult.
the US wants it.
I consult some company open map tiles.
Mm-hmm.
So
Ah.
one company released application, but I don't know what application they released.
Mm-hmm.
So, but too many times I use open map tiles,
Uh-huh.
and but so so before a few months, so too many times the creation maybe increase 4 times at the end, and to generate tiles use too many times
Mm-hmm.
from few months ago. So as the calculations increase,
Mm-hmm.
maybe so now I test in morning to Japan location.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my machine is 85 minutes
Oh,
in
okay.
morning, but
No, it doesn't seem to work.
in my first time it's 20 minutes
Oh,
only. So
yeah.
it's increased 4 times. So
Oh.
maybe very huge. So but the data is I check the commit
Mm-hmm.
for SQL files.
So maybe
So
you have to use the 2D
I think
image to set up time.
your project is
try that with,
good, get it good.
Aizuwakamatsu.
So I and so sometimes I want to make some pull request
Mm-hmm.
for your project
Mm-hmm. Nice.
for
Nice.
SQL
Yes.
files. So but,
Yes.
but I have no time to create for this presentation and this event. So
Mm-hmm. Okay.
yeah.
Nice. Okay. Nice. To make it faster. And less data. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello,
Oh.
I'm Rex from Taiwan, and I have a few questions about your talk. First of all, it seems you are using the tile server geo and put all these MVT in this tile database on the server side. So it seems to me that your app can now work offline. You don't need to always
I'll
have
tell
a
the team
server
that you
or a
like to
loading
make it easier to find.
Does your app work offline?
So you want to come at 1:15?
Offline, without the internet.
We'll come back here 1:15.
Sorry,
Go ahead again.
sorry, so
Let me. Can I install your app from the library?
No worries.
no, I have.
You haven't uploaded it. Okay. So can I use your app without the 3G or 4G interfaces?
Yeah. Yeah, this is back to
Yeah, because
sorry, and
do you buy
ダニエル、ちょっとさ、ちょっと
Yeah, all that tile should be
ちょ
vector
っと
arrays.
英語が聞き取れない。困ってる。英語が少し聞き取れないけど。
so can you speak?
And then we also
You can speak Japanese, so
Okay.
so
I try to answer
wanted to
some
like
question. For example, I see in this slide, he's using our server side solutions only, for example, for
So
Georepublic
if you want to
integrated.
Yeah.
So I wonder, does this app can this app work offline without the internet access?
What can this app do?
Can this app work without the internet access?
What is internet? Yeah, I'll allow internal access. So, like,
I mean, without the internet, which means I can use it just offline with my phone.
you mean offline?
So we have been
Oh, okay. No, that is not the case.
So everything is online.
You have to go online.
So I see another use case in this talk. You were talking about the indoor
I know it's frustrating with
And
GPS
are you
coordinates.
using the OSM that has set in your mapping, or are you using
I think there are some
picture?
Yeah, we got building plans from
take these GPS.
old PDFs or PDFs from the architecture, and so there was not enough time to make this all into OSM. So we just used the PDF and
I see.
draw the route on top.
And to support this is floor is difficult to OSM.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because it's quite challenging.
So also the mapping is hard to input, and so there was not so much time to. It was like making very detailed mapping outdoor, and indoor we took the existing data that was unfortunately not digital. It was on PDF. So practical.
Yeah, I've tried that. Like, I guess it depends which.
We are straight out to output PLG file to PLG file.
So I think there's room for improvement.
But you've tried mapping in Japan?
Will you show your slides on the internet after this?
The slides you put internet?
Are you based in
Your slides you will.
I will upload because my presentation includes movie file, but so SlideShare maybe it doesn't support it. So I cut the demo, or I will upload to Dropbox the raw file, but it may be only see it needs Mac OS. Because I make keynote.
Or I'm not sure this conference they put all a place for download all presentations with a link on the website. Not sure.
I don't know, but I will ask it.
Thank you. Thank you for your talk. It's
Yeah.
great talk.
疲れ様。
プレゼンってさっき質問であったと思うんですけど、アップロードされる予定
はある。
で、スライドシェアとか探せる。
まあ多分どこかにアップしてどこかに流すと思うんだけど、多分僕のアカウントをフォローしてくれるのが早い。で、スメルマンっていう名前でやってるので、ツイッターとかも全部それでやってる、GitHub とかも全部それでやってるので、それでやってくれると一番楽です。臭い音です。はい、それです。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。後で見ます。時間を見つけて、あと難しいことどうするかはい、100何メガぐらいファイルになっちゃってるから、それでビルショットをカットしないと、このネットワークで買っちゃう。
あ、こっちのオペレーションってできる？こっちの要するにスカイプのコネクションテストをしたくて。
はいはいはいはい。スカイプそれだったらここで。
できます？
てかこれこいつが？
こいつからスカイプをつなぎたくて。
スカイプをインストールしなければいけない。
マジかよ。
ネットはつながってるんで普通にスカイプ。
入ってるって言ってたような気がしたんだけど。
マジ？あ、本当だ。
英語キーボードわかんねえ。で西村さんが西村アカウントで入ってるから、これを一旦抜けてサインアウト。ちょっとだけ止めてもらえる？
ここだけ止めれない。おう。あ。スタッフ兼発表も終わった。
いや、ちょっと例の件でご相談したい件があるので、お時間があるかなっていう。
多分大丈夫だと。
ちょっとこれで音をネットから流して、それがちょっと待ってね。これでしまった。ライブはもうスタートしてるよね。ちょっとこれなんかマシな音ないかな。
なんでもいいよ、動きは。
何ぐらいのしかな。ちょっと待って、まだ間に合ってない。 来てないな。ちょっと音が弱いな。聞こえてる聞こえてる。ちょっとこれちょっと喋ってもらっていい？
Okay, almost done. Please say something with your talk.
I can just talk. And this is I think the level I'm going to talk at when I will be live. So I hope this audio quality is good enough.
Okay.
I also really actually the question will I errors document.
聞こえる？
Should I keep talking? Keep talking?
Okay. We can hear your talk from local. Now checking from Skype. No, YouTube.
So I think we're using Skype right now.
Yes. Now we are using Skype with you, and we have live stream. It would be nice, I guess.
彼の声の録音レベルがちょっと弱い
ああ、じゃあラウドリーで喋ってもらう
かな。ちょっとそれかこっちの
感度を上げる？
感度をちょっと今僕らが喋ってる声、ちょっと待ってね、こっちでミキサーがないかな。ちょっとね、ミキシングをなんかしないとうまくいかなそうな気がする。
まあ最悪 YouTube は諦めるって手もあるけど。
聞こえてはいるから、YouTube の方が聞こえてるか、ギリギリ聞こえてる感じがあるから大丈夫だと思う。で、
OK。
ただローカルの方がむしろ問題なんだけど、
そこはつなぎ直すことができる。
ケーブルがない。
OK。まあしょうがないね。
ちょっとこれで少しでちょっとこっちのボリューム上げられたら上げられる。ちょっとやってみる。
お願いします。Okay, it's done. I think yes, it goes well. And if you could, please say loudly or clearly. Maybe some the speaker of local would be a bit vague or.
Sorry, what?
Please speak loudly, louder or clearer during your speech.
Okay, I will try to be clear and loud.
Okay.
Is this good?
Yeah.
Good.
Sorry, in midnight.
No, that's no problem. Yeah, it's now 4:45 here in the morning.
Okay.
So, no, but it's good. I'm very happy to hear you.
Okay. So, okay, I we we would like to call 5 minutes before the presentation, your talk. So 10 minutes after from now. So see you later. Thank you so much.
ビデオコンファレンスがある。
そうで YouTube とどうしようか、オペレーションって松田さんお願いできるかな。
操作はできるけど、操作以外のところ、司会はダニエルにお願いします。ダニエルが直接ちょっとやり取りして、でここからかかってくるっていうのも、
こっちからかけるで5分前にかけるって言ってるから。
OK。
Not allow me to share it online before December. So if it's okay, I will turn that off and I can tell them not to can take pictures but not to post them.
Okay.
Because I am not allowed.
Okay, so this talk is not possible to stream online.
Yes. So sorry. I say I will check. Yes.
Yeah, I just announced before for the people who are listening.
Yeah, that's okay.
So we first do one not online and then we do one that is only online.
So mine is the second.
Okay, so the first one is virtual.
So first one is from Skype, and situation is almost ready. And please call him in 5 minutes before, and please contact him.
Okay, good. Mapping with a time dimension.
Yes.
Down from
And distance science.
で普通に彼らからスクリーンシェアしてそれを映すっていう動きなので、
今はどんなことによる？
音がそこから出るんだけど、これを経由してそこからプロジェクターから音が出るので、ちょっとその少し強めの声を大きく喋ってくれっていうふうにお願いしてます。
じゃあそれをテストしたの？
さっきテストして。
ここも聞こえる。
でただそこから出る声がどこまで聞こえるかわからないので、ちょっともしかするとちょっとそこに近づいた方がいいよっていうのはかもしれないけど、どれくらいちょっと様子少しやってそこから出てるっていうことだけ言えばみんなどうしようかって考えてくれると思うからやらないと思う。
あとなんか次のプレゼンテーションオンラインストリーミングがあれはどのように？
次のプレゼンテーションっていうのはその次？
そう、どうやる？
じゃあここの配信をストップするんで、12
時半のプレゼンテーション
は
オンラインに
ストリーミングしないでくれっていうことだったので、
だからアナウンスなんかストリーミング代わりになんかメッセージかける？
ちょっとそれは難しいかな。そこまではできないので、てか止めちゃうんで、ストリーミングって全部 NG とかじゃない。
みたいな。
だからもう止めるしかないんで、止めちゃいます。他も止めて
だから見てる人はどうかなと思う。だからスティールとかは
その段階で待たないようにするために一回止めた後にその後ストリーミング自身止めて中止にしちゃいます。それでちょっとそのルーム A のルーム1のやつがなくなったっていう状態にする。そうすれば諦めて別チャンネルの方に調整可能。その次のプレゼンテーションの後の中止になるというその時に持ちます。どうぞ。 ち
ニエさん、
はい
そう、
まあ一回テストしよう。
テスト終了で、
ビデオで。
さっきの、なんだっけ、ジョージアさん。ジョージアさんは、ライブストリームストップ。OK。
Hi Dan. I just put you on the screen now. You can actually see yourself probably when you see the live stream, right?
Oh, yeah, but I cannot switch between presentation and live stream without everyone seeing the screen.
Okay. Right. So we have the. Sorry?
I'm actually live right now.
Yeah, you are live right now. But it's after the coffee break, so I don't know exactly how long it takes until everyone comes in.
Well, I see the audience, so I fear that.
Okay. Yeah, I just keep you online like this, and then I will make an introduction. You pronounced Daan. Is that right?
Yeah, Daan or
Daan. Okay. Because double A, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I will then when it starts it will be. I'm not sure exactly how we can manage questions. So if you maybe it's difficult. So 25 minutes is about the time, and then people can get 5 minutes to change the rooms. So if that's okay for you.
Is it okay for you if the question, if I do that you maybe repeat the questions?
Yeah, I can. So if there are questions, I will tell you. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice, but I'm curious to see what the crowd thinks.
Sorry?
I'm curious to see what people think.
Okay. So I will try, but the speaker is in the center of the room, so yeah, I have to see how to manage this. That you can hear it because the microphone for you is here on the computer.
Yeah.
Okay. So eventually I will ask the people and then I will tell you the question, repeat the question to you. Okay. So let's wait a bit. Yeah. We can do that.
Reconnect it, so it will be like 5 minutes of.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
it's better than.
I will explain. So can you give a sign to him?
Yes, if he has
Okay.
my presentation, and I can show him which slides.
No, we don't have the slide.
I
Hi. そのスライドのいつぐらいだけ見せればダメだから、もしその時にオフができる。他の時は聞いてなくていい。だからどのようにサインした方がいいとか。はい。ストップ。なんかサイン。You give him a sign when before the slides come, and then he stops it for a moment, and then after that you give him a sign again and he starts again. Okay? だからその全部のプレゼントで5枚で。
Probably best.
5枚4枚ぐらい。
My slides are on this computer.
Yeah, they should be here.
Thank you.
Okay, so still it's not so full, so let's give them a few minutes more.
Yeah, sure. And I have a question. Is it correct that on the live stream I only see my face and not my...
Your slides, I have to wait like this. No?
Yeah, I don't see it yet. There's a delay of...
Just a moment.
question.
どのようにできる
なんか今なんか今
多分スカイプ表示しなきゃいけない。
これで OK。
はい。Do you make a screen share now at the moment?
Yes, I'm screen sharing. You should see
Ah,
now
okay.
the slides.
Okay, I think now it's okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So now you see my slides and maybe a small picture of me, but the slides are the biggest, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's good. It's good.
Cool.
その間だけストリートのアカウントと
彼女はなんかサインからストップでその時だけまだ人が外にOkay, I think it's time to start with the second session. We have we have an experiment, or we have an online presentation, and the speaker is in the middle of the room or at the projector. So I hope it's possible to hear for everyone, or maybe come more close to the center. You won't be streamed. So the camera, it's a safe place even here, closer to that projector. And the talk will be about, what will it about? Mapping with a time dimension. And our presenter is Daan van Ramshrost. So I'll let you continue.
Cool. Hi everyone, I'm Daan, I'm from Holland, and I have been working on history map. But let me first say thank you for being here, that I can present here. Really sorry that I couldn't come to Japan. It was money-wise and physically-wise was a bit complicated, but I'm very honored to be able to speak here. So I've been working on history mapping, but let me first say why I do this. I believe that if people know more about history, that they understand more about the present and appreciate it better. And my interest in history has always been big. I'm always very interested about what happened in the past. However, my interest has always been suppressed by boring books and also reading Wikipedia articles. And this actually slowed down my consumption, let's say, of history. This is when I decided that there should be something else that we could do to make it more interesting and to have more interaction with it. And this was 1 year and a half ago, and I decided to create an interactive and visual platform where you can see history and interact with it in ways that you couldn't do with text or static information like a Wikipedia article. Also, what's very important, it should be a wiki type crowdsourced. So think in the sense that, for example, OpenStreetMap works or Wikipedia itself, everyone should be able to contribute, even though your experience might not be very big. A very important next thing is also that I don't want to create data. I think there's a lot of historical data available already in the archives, digital archives, but the information is not organized. So the trick is to gather all the information, connect all the databases, and then organize the information inside of it. And the organized information should be in a format that I think I would call a modular database, which would be every data point, such as, for example, a piece of text or a picture, is a module, and every module has a date and a location connected to it. And this will allow for people to, or for the computer to connect it, to place it on a map first, but also it's very important that it has tags connected to it. And these tags will then speak or will say what's in there. For maybe for a picture it could say there's a car in there, and maybe the next tag would say what type of car. And that should be connected to other modules. So maybe it's connected to another similar picture, or maybe to a text which would go with this picture, or maybe to a book that talks about the situation. And so every module can connect. Basically, it's a bit like a database of Facebook. If you see a post of someone, it's connected to all kind of other data, like a person, or like people that liked it, or all kind of other data. Also very important that there's some use of gamification. With this I mean two things. It should be more fun to use, so that's a part of gamification, but it should also be more accessible to contribute. Making maps is not it's not a very simple task, but you can break down all the steps in small things. I have an example of that. For example, this is a picture, and there's not much known about this picture. And you can see some information in the picture. There's a person, there's a car, there's a tree, there's a building behind it. And by asking simple questions to users, to actually any user, we can start creating more sense out of data in this picture. For example, we can ask a question, is there a vehicle in this picture, to the first person? And then they answer, just by simply answering yes or no. And then if they answer yes, the next person might get a question, is this vehicle a car? And by answering yes again, this picture might be served to someone who knows more about cars. And then we ask them, can you recognize the brand? And if they click yes, they can select the brand they think it is. And then someone who knows more about this brand can be asked the same question, but then for the model. Do you know this model? And by doing this, we can actually organize the information that's embedded in this picture, but that only humans can easily. Now with computer learning, that sort of stuff, we can do this more automatically, but it's still a very simple way of doing this to contribute, and will allow everyone to contribute. And this kind of information is very important, because if we know this, we can actually kind of date the picture. We will know that it's not before this car was built. So we know it's from a certain date and maybe later. But we can do this with the car, but we can also do the same thing with maybe different vehicles and background, or maybe with the shape of the building, or maybe with the tree. We can also compare two pictures where you see two pictures with the same tree in it, and you say which one is the biggest. We'll give an indication of the date. So this is the kind of gamification and crowdsourcing I'm talking about, to organize the data that already exists. So I've been working on this for a while now, and I've been graduating. Let me show a live demo of what I've built. Let me see if this works. So this is the map of my university. I've been drawing this myself, and this is a fully interactive map. So as we all know from OpenStreetMap or Google Maps or any interactive map in the internet. However, the difference of this map is that there is an integrated time dimension. And at the top right corner you see we are in 1990. And here on the bottom right, we see this red dot. If I move that completely to the left, you will see 1960s. So this is the map of the university before there was a university. So it was some land with some forests and some grasslands and some farm sites. But you can jump anywhere in this timeline and see how the university looked at that time. Technically, because I guess most people are more technical at this conference, it works with vector paths, and you can basically your browser itself filtering out data that's not shown in this year, or that's not supposed to be shown in this year. But all the data from all the years is in the same data panel. Let me see. So you can change the map to a certain date. For example, now we've got 1961, and then you can click on anything. You get a picture and some information about it, And I was talking about aggregating data from other sources. This is I've already implemented this because I've worked together with the photo database of the university. So this picture is from that database, and you click on it, it will just send you to the university database and give you some context, some other pictures related to it. And this is, I think, the strength that this tool allows you to explore the information. Let me see, let me go back to the demo. And also, so this is fully interactive map, and you can also add some aerial photography layers to see how it is actually as you would do with modern map too. And we also used a lot of old maps that I've scanned in and that I've geolocated so I can draw on them and use them as sources. Let me see. So this is basically my prototype that we worked on. And let me go back to the presentation now. Let's see. And I've been building this using open source software. I've used GeoJSON.io, and it's a website to create and edit data, which you can later use in vector files. And everyone can actually participate in this editing. It's quite open source and crowdsourced because this data comes from GitHub, on the public GitHub page, and everyone can load it and edit it. So this is already crowdsourced. However, till now I'm the only crowdsourcing this map because it was my graduation project. But I want to show that it's really already working. And this is the photo database of the university I've been using to collect and to show these pictures. And it's quite a lot of work, but that's why I think it's interesting to do it in a crowdsourcing platform. So I'm now I've graduated with this project, and I now want to enroll, or what do you call it, create this in a more organization type, because I want this platform to become very big. I want actually to build a platform similar to Wikipedia or OpenStreetMap, and to organize all the historical data that's available in one central way, so that other organizations can use this as sort of database to augment their information, but also for any user just to explore on a map history. Because with this time dimension, you can now see history in a different way, which is, I think, very useful for learning about history. So the next step is to set up a non-profit organization, and that is, I'm going to start with that in September when I'm back at home. And also a very important part is, at the university I was already working together with local departments of the university. For example, the marketing communication department, but also the archival department. And I think this is also very important when I do it on a bigger scale, to work together with government. I mean, maybe national government, but also city councils and that sort of stuff. And I also work with organizations, so that's museums and archives and that sort of stuff. So I think this is one of the strong points, because by working together and putting all the data in one big pile and then organizing it, it helps everyone, because the database or the archives are also very happy to get more data about their information. If they have a picture and suddenly it's geolocalized, then it's more interesting. Let me see, so also in the coming months I will try to find funding, because I think it should be a non-profit organization, but it should also be grown very quickly. So to develop, we made some estimates, and we think to develop the basic platform, we will need a sum around 200,000 euros. And I think that's a starting point to make it start, and afterwards it can actually become somewhat profitable by doing partnerships with the archives and other organizations, because they also have interest in it. However, in the beginning phases, there's some software development that needs to be done. I'm actually also very curious what you guys have to say about the subject, and because I'm working on it myself mostly, and I've been speaking last year also at the same conference in Brussels, and it was interesting for me to meet other people. So please do contact me if you want to collaborate or have any ideas about it or any suggestions. And I'm really interested to grow the network also of people that have ideas about it and that can help with it. And this is basically what I'm going to present. And let me see, can I elaborate on some things? Yeah, so it's very important that it becomes a platform where the history can be experienced in a very different way. Because I actually believe that by making a platform similar to Wikipedia or OpenStreetMap, we can organize the historical information and then use it in very different ways also. For example, we could use it in tourist apps. If you have an app and you can just choose some criteria, say I'm interested in architecture, I'm interested in, for example, 19th century, and I'm interested in small-scale history. Let's say that there are a few criteria like this. Then the app could select all kind of data from this database based on how connected it is and how rich it is, and then serve you this information. And so this database can actually be used for a map, so as I showed you earlier, but in this kind of map. But it can also very well be used in a photo album. If you search for certain terms, that you get a photo album of this period of this subject. Or you can serve it in an app that gives you like a guided tour through the city. Or you can use it for education, for people to learn about historical events. And that's, I think, the interesting part, because the front end is mostly a map where you can interact with the data, but in the back end, the data is just organized in this database, in this modular database, and this will help use the data in very different ways. Because I think, I'm actually really saddened by the current state of historical information, because it's mostly there's a book written about the subject or an article written about the subject, and there's a picture in there maybe, but this picture has been found through hard work by the person writing the book or the article, but then it's not, the picture is not intelligent, it doesn't know what it is, it doesn't know what it's connected to, it doesn't know, and so basically in some way it would be, you could say, making history smarter. Yeah, so that's what I'm working on. And let me see if I can take some questions from the audience, maybe. So I understand that maybe it's going to be complicated with the audio.
Yeah, we try it.
Maybe the moderator can repeat the question. So, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, thank you very much. Cool. Maybe everybody has to clap very loud because. Can you hear that already?
Yeah.
Then maybe the questions are also understandable to hear. So does anyone have a question? But please, maybe the microphone is here, so you have to speak loud.
Or you could just...
Or I say it again. But
yeah, well, firstly, Dan, I met him last year, and he was talking about this. It was theoretical. So congratulations on how far it's come since then. It's really impressive that everything he was talking about a year ago is now well on its way to being a fully fledged project. But my question was around the historical imagery, and if you could elaborate on where it's coming from and some of the licensing around that and how he deals with the licensing of historical imagery.
Could you hear it?
So, yeah, I could actually hear it. If I listen very carefully, I hear it in the
Okay,
background. So I've been working with, for example, the university photo archive. And I've had meetings with the archive of the city also. And what I see very clearly is that most of these archives this data to be available to the public. Therefore, actually, they're pretty open to any sort of collaboration and sharing of their information. I think if, for example, the data is from a museum and they're very proud of it, they would want like a watermark or an origin information and maybe a link to their website, something like that. But in my experience, the organizations are really willing to share their pictures, and they're actually very happy with it because, for example, the city archive, they have the data, and they are now spending quite a lot of money actually to make the data accessible and to have more people like go to data and explore it. However, now it's behind a search wall, and that's not helping the process, let's say. And I believe that it will, this platform could bring people to these archives too, because when they explore it on the map and then click on the picture, they might be referred to the archive, and then they might understand that, oh, in my city there is an archive talking about it, maybe I should go there. So this is the kind of thing the archives at the city at least is very excited about.
Great, thanks Dan.
Okay, any other question? Yeah, please.
There's a saying that a man with one clock is always sure what the time is, but a man with two clocks is never quite sure. And it seems to me the same problem could apply in history. If you've got one old map that shows a building, then you can show the building on your map. But if you've got two old maps that show the same building in two different places, how do you draw that on a map? Have you thought about what happens when you have conflicting pieces of information on your map?
Could you hear that?
Yeah, so, I heard it barely, but I did hear it. I see, so you touch on an interesting thing. History is not exact, and you cannot go on the ground to check it. So you have to base it on historical information. What I think right now is the most prudent way is to use as many sources as possible. So to use, if you have two maps that say something different, find a different source, a third source, or maybe a fourth source. This will help find out which information is more true, let's say, and which information isn't. But there's also always going to be ambiguity, especially if you go further back in time. There are less and less maps, and maybe, as you guys know, that the first maps that were made were really more artistic expressions than executives, or they were more, and the person buying the map was also having a big say in what will be shown on the map or not. However, I think from the last 200 years, there's a pretty accurate historical, there are pretty exact historical maps. And things that has to be done is in the editing background. It's very easy to use different layers, different maps that have been found, and so you can really easily compare them. And this helps the process also. And also, I think a way to solve this, or at least to help this problem, is like you have it on Wikipedia now, that if the information is disputed, basically from different sources, it will just show that there will be a little sign to it when you click on it. It tells you that it's the data is not certain, and it might be an alternative to this data, or it might be different than it shows on the map. Also, what I think is very important, I was talking about the crowdsourcing part, that you might show these pictures, right? And maybe show it to some people that have more knowledge, more specific knowledge. And I was thinking of doing the same thing, but then also for historians. So maybe some more expert level people that edit the content will have more knowledge about this kind of stuff, and then might know more that if they looked to this map and they have two different locations, but that one is certainly more logical than the other one. So it's a tricky thing, but by using as many sources as possible, and the goal is to get it as accurate as possible. But it's going to be limited, that's for sure. Yeah.
Okay, we have time for another last question, if somebody wants to ask. otherwise, my question would be, the data you mentioned, these data archives, are you importing everything, or is this somehow linked, the data, to each other, or how do you?
No. So the goal is not to import the data, because that's what I meant with the aggregation. I don't want to own the data, because owning the data brings all kinds of responsibilities, but also copies of the same data. And so my goal is to mostly just connect the data. In the prototype I showed you, the pictures you see, they're not hosted by me, they're actually directly hosted by the website of the archive. And I think that's stronger, because then the information it stays with the person that owns it, basically. And also, this will, though, when they load the picture, the extra information collected with sort of location, maybe your date or that sort of stuff that's added by the community, this information is stored on the platform, and when possible will be also stored with original picture in the original database. However, that's obviously not guaranteed that it's possible to give that feedback. And so there is some bit of like augmentation data that will be stored in the platform, I think.
Okay, yeah, that's good. I would say, if you have more questions, meet later at the lunchtime, but that's not possible. So you just send an email to Daan if you're interested.
Yeah.
I think that's okay. Yeah.
And feel very free to contact me. That's I will really appreciate that, actually.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay. Then we continue with the next talk. Let me. So. Just make sure that we don't have Skype running. Not that somebody calls me when you're talking. And here is written day 1, room 1. And inside there is you.
Yeah.
And let's see.
We can go to, how do we put on presentation? So
Do you need presentation mode or something?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't want my notes to appear.
Wait.
Play from start.
Presenter view. What is presenter view for everyone now?
No, that's
no,
great.
That's good. Yeah, so I'm a Linux person. I don't know how to use that stuff.
Okay. So
Let's wait until
we have 1 more minute.
if somebody changed the room. And you make a sign to me. So
Yeah. So
後でなんか手とかで。どのhow quick they can? Quite
Definitely
soon?
time.
A bit later?
No, let's go back to presenter. I think they're like,
Pretty soon or in the end?
they're like,
Or what's the one before?
So from 21 to 23.
Okay, so 20 is the last one.
Yeah, so
Okay.
21, 22, 23 should stay out.
Okay. Wait. これの次ですね。はい。まあ、maybe make a sign.
Yeah, it's probably better if I make a sign for them. So can we go in presenter?
Yeah, I just start with the first one. And then
It doesn't have to be presentation mode, just.
yeah, but it's okay. No? Then you see the next slide already.
Yeah, okay.
So you see what comes next.
Yeah.
And then-
So can we start?
Yeah, I will. Okay, let's continue with the next talk. It's about new opportunities for understanding the ancient coastline, and Georgia will explain about this, and
Yeah, I'm curious to hear what it's about.
Thank you very much. So before I begin, I have to say that some slides from my presentation will not be available through live streaming, just 2 or 3 sites due to licensing issues, but feel free to email me and I can share the presentation with you. So to begin with, my name is Andreou. I'm a postdoc in classical archaeology at Cornell University. I believe I'm the only archaeologist here today. My research focuses on the ancient human-environment interaction, particularly in the Eastern Mediterranean in the 2nd and the 1st millennium BC. A lot of my work focuses on the ancient coastline. I am co-directing the Cyprus Ancient Shoreline project, and I'm directing the Coastal Erosion Management in Archaeology project. So today I'm going to discuss with you the significance of modern and ancient coastlines and ways in which we can incorporate local knowledge into discovering new archaeological sites. So the coastline is a very significant and dynamic environment. I give you as an example I give you the aerial view of the port of Kobe. It has extensive infrastructure, international interaction, huge economic possibility. It has various levels of meaning, either to the local community or the international community. So try to imagine that in antiquity. So in antiquity, we have also maritime infrastructure. It looks more like this one here. In this example, I share with you the 4th century BC port of Amethyst, which is located in Cyprus. So similar to Kobe, the port of Amethyst had international relations. It had intensive economic activity. It was exchanging material with the Eastern Mediterranean and the Western Mediterranean, and part of this port has been submerged. So in this occasion, we are very lucky to actually have this information, and you can have underwater archaeologists who are going to map this and find more information to try and have an idea of the economic situation in this particular period. So one of the major problems we are facing at the moment is coastal erosion. Coastal erosion is the loss of land from the coast, and it's a serious problem that is affecting the Mediterranean, the Black Sea, the Red Sea, the North Sea, Atlantic Europe, the Caribbean, the Persian Gulf, the Pacific, and North America. So here we see examples of extreme erosion that I found online through BBC News. So we see that it's affecting severely infrastructure, but also private property. So more examples from the UK. So similar to the present, we have some examples of ancient structures that are eroding. The problem is that we do not actually have pictures of the ancient structures that have eroded. Here are some pictures of structures currently under erosion. So these are part of the Cyprus Ancient Shoreline project that we have documented between 2011 and 2016. On the top left, we have a late Bronze Age chamber tomb, which contain a significant amount of pottery with indication of international interaction. To the right, we have some, I don't know if I can point here. Can you see? I don't know if I can see. So to the top right, we have a storage vessel from a domestic environment. So it was probably a house that was located at the coastline at some point, or maybe it wasn't at the coastline and the coastline has receded to the extent that it has exposed this house. And on the bottom, we have a 2-phase wall that also dates to the Bronze Age. But interestingly enough, it has additional information from the Iron Age on top of it, which is a very critical chronological period during which we have extensive economic and possibly environmental crises throughout the Eastern Mediterranean. But in this case, we have evidence of continuation of the use of a structure. Now, this information may seem interesting to you, but at this point, we need to point out that none of this structure exists anymore. It was recorded in 2014, and it has since disappeared. So I believe that Erlandson has aptly described coastal erosion as the erosion of human history. It's a problem that we have throughout the world, whether it is in the Pacific Ocean, whether it is in Scotland, particularly in Scotland, actually. We have a lot of information that concerns cultural heritage, but it has disappeared in most occasions without being systematically recorded. So my research focuses on the Mediterranean Sea. The Mediterranean Sea is generally considered a very important geographical area. It's defined by its coastline. It has a very long history of maritime interaction and several case studies that focus on connectivity, trade, international interaction. They focus on diplomacy. So we have a lot of this information that actually informs our present, and particularly the economic crisis that I mentioned earlier. So overall, it's key in our understanding of human history, and it's particularly vulnerable to coastal erosion. A lot of the coastal erosion of the Mediterranean has actually been mapped by the Erosion project in 2004. So on the top right, we see a map that shows with different colors areas that suffer with higher or lower levels of erosion. We have a very good understanding of why erosion occurs in this area. For example, tourist development, we see a picture from Croatia, or industrial development that we see to the bottom right. We see a cement factory from Cyprus. So it has been argued that for the past 100 years, coastal erosion is more severe because of the development of the coastline as opposed to previous practices that were mostly agriculture and fishing. So overall, we have a very good understanding of the processes that lead to erosion. We know that if we dam a river, there's no sediment coming to the coast. We know that if we dredge the coastline, it increases erosion in adjacent areas. We know that if we build support structures, they divert the erosion to adjacent areas. We know that if a river dries out, and rivers were at some point navigable, these areas experience high levels of erosion. What we don't know is what actually has been lost in this area. So we may be able to say that for the past 100 years, we lost 100 meters, but we have no idea what was inside this land of 100 meters. In some occasions, cultural heritage management, particularly in Scotland, they have launched crowdsourced projects. For example, the Scotland's Coastal Heritage at Risk project, where they actually used people who live in these areas and they have regular interaction with the coastline, and they took pictures or they even drew archaeological remains that are eroding from the sea. In most occasions, though, the archaeological materials are just disappearing without being systematically recorded. So I will now go to Cyprus, where my research is focusing on. Cyprus is located on the eastern Mediterranean. Archaeological and textual evidence as early as the 18th century BC suggests that the island was a very key participant in the international economic sphere of the Eastern Mediterranean, especially through the exportation of its copper sources. So to the picture to the left, we see the very famous Uluburun shipwreck that contained, among others, tons of copper ingots that were exported from Cyprus to the Near East. Now, we have a lot of evidence that the island was participating in international interaction. We have imported materials, we have shipwrecks, we have coastal sites with significant structures, but we do not actually know how people were using the coastline during that time. So we have a small number of coastal sites that we know they were probably engaging with maritime activities, but we have not actually reconstructed the maritime activity of the whole island. So the area that I'm focusing on is between Cape Dolos and Cape Giti. The south central coast of the island is generally described as an area that has experienced the highest rates of erosion. In some occasions, we lose up to 1.5 meters of soil. So this area is characterized by a very rapid industrial development that followed the war in 1974. It's characterized by intensive tourist development. So we see, for example, on the bottom left, the Zigi Marina, which is in this area. And we also see the extensive construction of coastal protection structures that in many occasions they're constructed without environmental assessment. As a result, they may be protecting a field, but we don't know how they're influencing the coastline in other parts of the island. So the Cyprus Ancient Shoreline project is funded by the Honor First Foundation. It's supported by the Department of Antiquities, and it started through the University of Edinburgh, but it continues through Cornell University. So we are collecting information about exposed archaeological sites to produce an unprecedented record of vulnerable coastal archaeological features. So we have a database that we can share with the government and with other users, but also to contextualize them in their natural and their anthropogenic environment. So we try to place them in relation to rivers, in relation to certain resources, particularly copper, but also in relation to other known sites. So the information we have been collecting is from archival data, similar to the previous discussion. In some occasions, as you see the drawing in the middle, we actually had students who visited the coastline and they recorded what they see being exposed. We did an underwater investigation and we produced 3D models of underwater materials such as anchors. We also compared aerial photos from 1963, 1993, and 2008, which are widely available for the Eastern Mediterranean. We actually digitized the coastlines and we used the digital shoreline analysis system through which we were able to indicate which areas experience higher or lower erosion, and we placed them in association with archaeological sites. So in this slide you see with the blue, light blue color, Tokhnila, Chanzi, Petrini, which are 2 archaeological sites, and we see that they have been experiencing severe erosion. So I can discuss this more with you during lunchtime. We also produced closer aerial photos with the use of DJI Phantom 3 drone, as well as 3D models of the exposed structures with the use of Agisoft PhotoScan. So the idea is that we take pictures and they are georeferenced, and then once a year when we take these pictures, we can subsequently compare them and do volumetric analysis and compare what we have lost and what it may have contained. So overall, we have been collecting this information since 2011 through one annual visit to these archaeological sites. So we have a very good understanding of what happens to these archaeological sites every June, but for the rest of the year, we have no idea. So that was one of the main problems that I wanted to deal with the use of crowdsourced data. So the question is, how can we record rapidly exposed and disappearing archaeological features in a sustainable manner? So the problems we have is that we have limited financial resources, especially for archaeology and the humanities in general. We have limited human resources and people who will actually have the time to visit the coastline. And the coastline is experiencing fast and dramatic change. So every single day, it's different. So at this point, we're going to interrupt the live streaming.